Hi, so my name is Nick and welcome to the Painter's Mess. We're going to do a little bit of world building as well as open up a package that I received from a Kickstarter that I funded by Westfalia Miniatures. So let's get into it. So to start, I want to talk about Westfalia Miniatures and their Kickstarter. So this is their website, and I've received a couple of their miniatures before and painted a few of them up. Specifically, I've painted up this vampire lord and then a couple others from one of their other Kickstarters. And the one that I really want to talk about is the one that I received, which is called The Heroes. And it was a campaign to help fund a friend who they have named Roman in Ukraine, who was affected by the current war. So they did this Kickstarter, and all of these miniatures are sculpted from him, and they're all hand sculpted and then casted in resin and then sent out to everybody else. So I just want to talk about how amazing this is that they are doing a Kickstarter for somebody to help support them and their situation due to the war in Ukraine. Either way, there are a lot of miniatures that this company has available, and they're not terribly expensive. They're all in Canadian dollars, and they cost roughly around $12 each, depending on the size. But they are all fantastic because they are all fully hand sculpted and then cast in resin. I believe I also have the giant virus, and I'm very excited to paint that. So let's get to the box opening. So while I open this box, I'm going to talk about my next topic, which is my world building for my original D&D campaign. So unfortunately at this point we're not currently playing D&D, but that doesn't mean that I still don't think about the world that I originally had built and things that I wanted to change about it and where I want to go from here. So initially we started playing in this world that I created, and I built it from a small lens as far as I started with the town and started expanding out into the world and adding lore. But when you do that, and if you don't keep it in a logical or organized way, you're bound to run into some fallacies and contradictions to your lore and what players know and what they don't know. And then obviously when you take an extended break, all of that information is gone, especially if your players may not write down all of the lore that you try to work on, which is fine, but then you got to make sure that you're staying in line and making sure that you're staying accurate to your lore. So for me, I started with a small town and then started expanding, and I felt that I lost too much from that method of world building, which is okay because it gives me the opportunity to, 1, reflect, and 2, to start over. Hi, I'm video editing Nick from the future. Something that I've learned in this short amount of time of trying to make this video is that you can't stop midway through a story to start doing something else without at least giving a reason why you're stopping. This is me telling you that I'm stopping in the middle of my story to start reviewing the models because I recorded the reviewing and my voiceover prior to the rest of the video. Which means there are things that are not in order in any reasonable sense. There are things that are inaccurate. And something that I've learned in this short amount of time is that you should probably get all of your filming done and in a chronological order before you do your voiceover. So we're going to continue the video knowing that I'm now going to review the models, and then I will finish my story once we get to the end. Thank you for this brief interruption. Just looking at this little guy, he's pretty tiny. He's the size of the tip of my finger. That him compared to a Death Guard model from 40K, he's pretty small, but it's still going to be fun to paint. There's that one knight that was on the website. This dude looks freaking ripped, and he has the little swish in his hair and a giant mustache, and he's pretty fucking cool. So I'm pretty excited to make this one. I didn't mention it, but I couldn't think of like what to say for that woman, but she looks fun to paint as well. Nice little guy with daggers. This guy looks like he's going on a quest. That should be some good OSL torch that he's holding. And this guy looks like he's part of the Marrow Legionary squad, which I'm pretty excited to expand on that. Potentially there's a video up in this top hand corner. This is me just trying to figure out what the hell this one is. It's the guy with the, he's also a Marrow Legionary, or Marrow Berserker, I believe is his title. This also looks like some bomb-ass knight that's gonna go beat the crap out of some people with a giant longsword. So the next couple that I'm going to talk about are the large models, and this is the largest one from the original Kickstarter, which is this giant, grotesque warrior berserker brute that has some skulls on the front, and then he's missing the horns. I have to glue those in, but he has these giant horns, and I believe he carries some axes or something like that, but he's going to be a counter, definitely like a solid either guard or minion of some kind of evil boss in a D&D campaign. Pulling out the next one is this beholder looking model that I believe I ordered in addition to the Kickstarter, and he's gonna have his eyes come out of there, all those like tentacle eyes, and it looks just amazing. I think of like the original Beholder, and they're fantastic. They're creepy, they're aberration looking, they're Cthulhu-esque, but I really feel that this one in particular has a pretty different aesthetic and something that's super interesting and would be terrifying to see on the tabletop. I think this will probably be the first thing that I paint because I'm so excited to paint it and it looks just so cool. And this looks like a plate or a display plate for the next model, which by the wings, I imagine is a giant dragon. One of the next bags is the body, and just looking at these scales and how detailed and crisp they are, I think this model is going to be fantastic to paint. It looks like each individual scale has enough surface area for highlights and a solid coat. Like, I feel that this model in particular is going to be fantastic and it's going to look amazing the more time you spend on it. And looking at this face, needs a little bit of cleaning up, but as all resin prints do, or all resin casted models do, that's okay. I think it's going to look just amazing, and I cannot wait to put it together. Hi, this is future Nick talking. And if you've made it this far in the video, thank you so much for your attention and sticking with the whole thing. I do very much appreciate it. I do want to continue on with the rest of the story of where I was going with my world building. So I'm going to do that now. And where I was getting at is when I started world building and I was starting small, it was there, I ran into some problems. And now that I'm restarting, I can start big. I can start with the gods. I can start with the cosmos, and I can build the continents how I want them to be built, and then start narrowing it down to where I want to place my characters, my player characters, when we start D&D back up again. And I feel that this is the better way for me to build a world compared to starting small and expanding from there. I think I can get a lot more detail and a lot more continuity with the big, starting with the big and narrowing it down. And I wanted to bring in how these models and this Kickstarter fall into that. So I do plan on using the 4 heroes that were sculpted by Roman in my D&D campaign in some manner. I also plan on using the monster creatures and villains from Westfalia Miniatures as well. One being the Great Virus and the tank and his henchmen. I've also already painted up 2 of the Marrow Legionaries, and I'm really excited to add to that group of either bad characters or creatures, and I really want to expand on that legion of people and their lore. So look forward to more videos on my world building process and how these characters are going to interact in the world. And if you have any suggestions for how you would like to see these characters interact, or some really cool ways that I can put them in my setting, I would love to read your comments below. So if you made it this far in the video, thank you so much for sticking with it, and I really appreciate it. If you like this kind of content, please like and subscribe and share with your friends, because any kind of exposure is good exposure in my case. I really appreciate it, and I really do look forward to seeing you guys in the next video. Embrace the mess and go paint one mini at a time. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.